Could someone say something? Just want to know if I can still hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Guys, what will it take for you to switch on your cameras?
Just 2 minutes, things are not settled over here.
ठीक है. My job
Oh
is...
shit, I was about to ask for $1 million.
Oh, come on.
I would have rather asked for, free sessions, multiple of them.
I'm doing them every week anyway. I've already said that
No,
we'll
no.
do more during
Sessions
the
of my choice.
sessions of your choice. Right.
I am switching my camera off.
Why? Why is that
Why?
so?
Why is
You're
that?
looking so pretty in pink.
No, but I would want the sessions of my choice also.
Oh, I said, come on. This is just... Okay, maybe I should have phrased my question differently.
Maybe you could have said that people will receive session better if they switch on their cameras.
देखिए, जब तक आप कैमरा ऑन नहीं करती, I really don't know what you're saying.
Where are you? Stand here.
Okay, Gauri,
Come on,
Bhavna,
PK.
Vidhu, Sri Sudha, Indu Singh. There's Palak. Okay. Sri Sudha is here. Gauri.
Today I cannot because I am not presentable, that presentable today.
I love.
I was going to come up with a vice crack, but then I thought maybe I should just shut up this time.
Gauri, I'm sitting in
That's
a
what
nightie. What more presentable do you want?
Gauri,
to
she's
be?
sitting in a nightie. Seriously, what more presentable can you?
I didn't get time to change. मैंने कहा ऐसे
That's
बैठ
very
जाऊँ.
presentable, by the way.
चल, ठीक है, good, thank you.
Exactly.
How much more? How does it get any better than this?
Okay, then if it is a sore to your eyes, then it's okay. I don't care.
Aja.
Let's see. Now we're just waiting to see what exactly is she going to be looking like. Oh, you're fine. Yeah, come on.
Okay.
Okay, so should we start?
Yeah.
All right. So thanks for joining us here. Every conscious or unconscious desire, it depends on intent to a certain extent for successful completion. So this is very, very true for energy healing, where the healer's ability to visualize clearly and focus their intent on the precise desired outcome. And it displays a major role. Even for others amongst us who do not work with healing, clarity of vision is a really powerful factor in the accomplishment of goals. So if you think about it, when we pray, what we're really doing is clarifying intent. When we pray, we are reiterating what we want, we are stating what we want, we are stating as clear a manner what we want and all of that. So in this session, which is the level 1 edition of the Crystallise Intent series, we'll work with visualization. We'll basically take you to a certain construct and leave you in that construct, leaving you to fill in the details of that. So you'll see where I come there. So the point is to remember everything. So we'll improve our ability to visualize within our mind's eye, constructing and maintaining those mental constructs visually. Because when you create an intent, some intent is you just create an intent once and leave it. Other intents are some things you got to maintain over a period of time, and so on. And certainly with other energy constructs, where you have to create visual constructs which withstand, which persist over time. So all these things require a great deal of clarity. कि मुझे क्या चाहिए, क्यों चाहिए, कहाँ पर चाहिए, कैसे चाहिए, and all those things. So the next levels focus on greater degrees of abstraction of the same intent, insertion of emotions into intent, and more elements that go into the creation of powerful intent. So during this session, I want you to be particularly mindful of my voice, trying your best to keep listening and following my instructions. Some of us tend to drift away at times. So if you do happen to drift away, become aware of it. Usually we know when we're drifting away, and come back to my voice and listening carefully and doing as I ask. Take care. Shall we begin? Get into position. For those who don't know what the position is, that Sandy would probably not know. This is the first session. So the position is basically getting to a comfortable position. Relax this thing, relax your neck, but not so much that you can just fall asleep. So, just be in a relaxed position where you can relax, but not so much that you fall asleep. So we are going to have a somewhat long induction for this one. So induction is where, the process of entering a state of trance. We'll have a slightly longish one for that, which is largely to make sure that you're really deep inside. And then after that, we'll start the actual context. Okay, so all right, let's begin. Please close your eyes. Take a deep breath or two. And relax. Just feel your back sinking back into the back of the chair. Feel your arms resting comfortably on the armrests or your lap or your legs, wherever you put your arms. And pay attention to your breath without doing the breathing. Resting assured that your body knows how to do that for you and will continue to do so now as you listen to the sound of my voice. Feel yourself breathing in and out, and notice the temperature of the air around you. You can be aware or not of the sounds of the room. It's nice to begin to appreciate that you have a conscious mind and an unconscious mind, and while your conscious mind can be aware of the feeling of that hand or that foot or the sounds of my words, your unconscious mind is aware of far more. Your unconscious mind is aware of everything happening here and now, and everything that has ever happened to you. And it's nice to know that your conscious mind is very smart, and your unconscious mind also learns in a variety of ways. So you really can just let it do the work for you for a while you just let go. That's right. Let go. Nothing is important right now except enjoying that feeling of trance, that feeling flowing throughout your body. And wondering if that hand or the other is heavier than the first or becoming heavier than the first, or which leg is sinking more deeply into the cushion or the floor. And the tension can meld, and you find yourself attending less to the sounds of my words and more to the space in between my sentences. You can focus on the relative silence between the words, like focusing on the spaces of light in between the branches of a tree instead of the tree itself, looking at the shape and the space between the branches, or like diving into a pool of crystal clear water. In between the sides of a pool, you float in the space. In between, easily, effortlessly floating, letting your unconscious soak in any and every positive suggestion, thought, or idea that I offer you, while you just drift more and more comfortably into trance now. So, allowing now a time to think, wonder, and feel. It might make you curious to be here and now, in a place like this, as you sit just where you are, listening carefully and closely to the words and phrases that vibrate from my voice. Sometimes I might say something that gives you a feeling, and at other times it may help you to understand in a deep and relaxing way, and other times still it might make you wonder, what do I really mean by all the things that I am saying? And that's okay, as trance is something easy and simple, but genuinely comfortable. I encourage you to breathe deeply and comfortably, and feel the expansion of your consciousness and let it slow. and expand and slow again. And while you continue to expand and slow yourself down in a relaxing way, you might want to begin to launch in your imagination to a time when you were near the ocean waves. And as you can imagine, the waves expanding to the shore and slowing as they return to the sea. You can remember the soft sand between your toes as the waves expand to the surface, and the sea smelling breeze is such a wonder. As the waves again and again move deeply inside the vast ocean surface, the waves continue to expand and return slowly and easily, moving inside the ocean's shelf. As it is so easy and so natural for things to change and flow, the water really can allow each wave to move deeper into the ocean, as the changes on the surface are telling a story of peace, calm, and relaxing changes. Smelling that thick, flowing air as the waves expand and continue to slowly enter the calm and deep ocean. Each wave expands only to wonder what it's like to let go now, as the ocean takes itself on a journey into the waters of the mind and the soul. And once again, during this session, I want you to be especially mindful of my voice, trying your best to keep listening and following my instructions. If you happen to drift away, become aware of it. That's perfectly all right. Just be aware of it and come back to my voice. My voice is going to be with you throughout your session today. So wherever you are, wherever you go, I am with you. And you can continue to listen to my voice and follow my instructions whenever you like. That's great. And if you find yourself in a room made mostly out of wood, with wooden walls, wooden ceiling, wooden floors, and wooden pillars, the entire room, as seen by you, is a scene in hues of brown and delicately carved panels and figures inside the wood. You examine the carving on the ceiling, which is spread all across and intricate, deeply detailed, and finely done. You then turn your attention to the pillars, which too are made of wood. The pillars too are carved with finely etched designs, with a burst of carving at the base and fine piping and fluting all through to the top. You look around the room and take a closer look at the floor and elsewhere. In a corner of this room is a table. It is a small, round, wooden table, an old wooden table, upon which sits a crystal ball, a round crystal ball which glitters and glimmers and sparkles and shines, with light both coming from inside it and reflecting off from the outside. You walk closer to the table and notice that the side of the table is carved with tiny little animals all around. You look carefully and see ducks and cows and dogs and bulls and bears and more animals Each of the animals has a pose and an object in its paws. You strain to look closer to try and make out what that object is in its paws. It's all right if you can't. You notice a chair besides the table, another beautiful work in wood with finely done designs all over it. The chair, too, is of unusual design, which you look at carefully before sitting down on it and finding it quite comfortable with a soft floral cushion underneath you. Sitting on the chair, you look at the crystal ball. It's a large ball, nearly a foot in diameter, placed on a base of engraved silver that looks really heavy, upon which you can see tiny characters in a language that you do not understand. In the center of the silver base, you see a small button with two human figures engraved on it. The second, much smaller than the first. You decide not to press it. You turn your attention to the ball itself, looking at the fine polished surface and the tiny flaws and clouds within that tell you it's a real piece of ancient crystal and not just glass. Inside the crystal appears to be a replica of a tiny city. You can see little buildings and trees and flowers and even some children playing besides a patch of grass in a little children's park with a swing and all of that. The city is beautifully made, amazingly detailed, with each and every little color and texture faithfully reproduced on every door, wall, window, and leaf. As you continue admiring the pretty and intricate structures inside the crystal ball, a small part of you wonders how the little city was placed inside a block of natural crystal. While you wonder, you notice that the button on the silver base has begun glowing. A slow, gentle, pulsing blue glow. You stare at it curiously, not really sure why it's glowing and what you should do about it. At the same time, you notice a difference in the city inside and think that maybe you're just imagining things. Has the swing in the children's park begun gently swinging? Had a light just turned on in a window on the first floor of that corner house? You feel an urge deep within you, a curiosity to see more, a desire to experience more, and without really thinking, you move your finger toward the glowing button on the engraved silver base. The moment your finger touches the button, you feel a faint tingling in the tips of your fingers and the tips of your toes, and your hair and your ears, and soon your whole body feels like it's in the middle of a swirling mist of tingling energies. You feel sleepy, a nice, comfortable, and deep drowsiness that makes you want to sit back in the chair. Maybe allow your head to tilt backwards in relaxation, and allow your back and shoulders to relax a little. You allow your eyelids in that room with the crystal pillars, with the crystal ball, your eyelids to close, noticing that it feels just like falling asleep after a long, hard day, sinking into the blissful state of complete relaxation and letting go of all thoughts. Still seated on the same chair, you awaken with a jerk and open your eyes and look around. It's the same room and everything looks the same as when you close your eyes, except for the crystal ball, which has disappeared. For some reason, in its place is a little glass bottle with a purple colored liquid inside, with a little label on the outside that reads, "Drink me," alongside a drawing of two human figures, one tiny and the other much larger. You decide not to drink it, instead choosing to leave the room and step outside for a bit of fresh air. You open the door and step outside. The scene in front of your eyes looks familiar, though you're not quite sure where you recall all of this from. You turn around to look at the house from which you're emerging and notice that just above the door is a large red wooden flower. You see a park, which appears to be for children, with swings and other playground stuff. You see children playing, running around the park. The trees sway in the wind, the leaves rustling, as the wind blows between the branches of the tree. With a start, you realize you're in the crystal ball. Interestingly, from the outside, you can only see a small park, a couple of trees, and a couple of buildings, but now it all seems so much bigger. You decide to explore the little city inside the crystal ball. You wonder for a moment where the light is coming from and how the wind seems to be blowing, but how is this happening? Go ahead, walk through the streets, gaze at the sky, sit in the park, watch the children, look at the houses and other buildings, observe everything, remember everything. You can enter any building you like, or climb any tree you see, or do anything you wish in this little town. I'll leave you to wander the little city inside the crystal ball for a few minutes. Remember the route, for you must return to this very place again in order to return to the real world outside the crystal. Keep track of the street you're on, memorize the buildings so you know when to turn where and how to return to where you began. When you're done looking around, you decide to return to the place where you began. I leave you for a bit to find your way back to the house with a large red wooden flower just above the door. You find the house from where you began your explorations and enter it, once again finding yourself in the same room as when it all started. Noticing the little bottle still on the table, you decide to follow the instruction on the label and drink the contents. Picking up the bottle, you sit on the chair, remove the little cork from the mouth of the bottle, and empty it into your mouth. As you drink the shimmery purple liquid, you find it tastes of blueberries and blackcurrants and honey and roses, and yet light and airy and almost like drinking the vapors of a cloud. Once again, as before, you feel yourself relaxing deeply. You sit back on the chair, memories swirling through your head, recalling your walk around the little town, the things you saw, the places you went, the roads you walked on, the houses you admired. In a flash, you once again find yourself once again in the same room as before, this time with a crystal ball sitting firmly on the table, the scene inside still and frozen. And you recall once again the things you saw, the children moving and playing, the trees singing and swaying, the people cheerful and bright, and so much more. You wonder if the city would be different at night. You begin counting backwards from 3 to 1, knowing that when you reach 1, you can open your eyes and return to a session whenever you like to continue your day, knowing that you've just exposed and explored a little of your ability to visualize and construct. So go ahead, begin counting backwards from 3 to 1. 3, 2, and 1. You can return to our session, opening your eyes anytime you like. Go ahead and have a drink of water if you like. Yeah? Sometimes one feels quite thirsty after this. Sandhya, this is for you since you haven't done this before. Any feedback, guys? Anything to share? Any this thing? Do you remember what you saw? What did you see? Did you see more than what I mentioned? Hey Ritu, why don't you get on some audio and if possible some video and tell us what that vow is for?
Hi.
Hello.
Why can't you see me?
I don't know. It looks like are you
But
you know
I switched on my video.
did you notice any two small pricks on your neck this morning in the mirror?
Ha ha ha. Okay, I know. It's little dark in my room right now.
जी कोई नहीं आप बता हाँ there no हाँ there you are आ गए आप
Yes. Okay. So I too slept off somewhere in
I thought
between.
wow means you're going to tell me something different.
No, wow, because I was sitting. I was not even lying down, and I was sitting on the chair,
Uh-huh.
and I just kind of darkened the room a bit, which I always do for all the session.
जी.
And then to be sleeping like this and still feeling okay. So it's like, wow, for
Okay,
that.
but you certainly didn't sleep. Huh? You were definitely not sleeping. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come back when I asked you to. So you did do something. You did probably listen to everything I said. But there's a whatever your experience is probably locked somewhere inside. So it'll be interesting अगर आप उसको recall करने की कोशिश करें कभी.
Yeah. We'll
But that's
try and do
interesting.
that.
Chalo, at least you had a good relaxing snooze, man.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Sandy, how was your first guided meditation experience?
So I've done it before
Oh, you have. All right.
at different places, but not with you. So yours one I was doing after a very long time actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't done meditation during the pandemic at all. So
Can't hear you very well. Aapki awaaz,
can you hear me now?
much better.
Is
Thank
it
you.
better? Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm saying I've done guided meditation a long back, but after the pandemic, I think it's the first time that I've done it after ages, literally after
Wow.
2 years or something. So I think it was nice. Obviously very relaxing, and I think it did serve the purpose of just
Were you
being in
able
that
to see
particular
the
moment.
things and walk, see the city that I was talking about, and were you able to see the things that I mentioned?
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else, guys? Feedback, as you know, is always welcome. I'd really like to know what worked for you, what didn't. I mean, for example, I'll never ever forget the meditation of that garden wala, secret garden tha na, Archana, I think you might recall that one. Jahan par I made the mistake of putting a few bugs and bees in there, and some people actually got very unnerved with the bugs and the bees, saying, I don't want this stuff around me. So they didn't like insects. So it was a good experience. But so yeah, feedback is always welcome. Okay, so no feedback. Fine. If you have something to say, मुझे बाद में just message me or something. Archana, you have something to say, ma'am?
And said this, it was good. It was like any other good meditation. I was able to see what you were mentioning.
Okay.
And I saw a bright white light coming to my eyes. Besides that, and that's all.
City के अंदर आप कुछ घूम पाए थे, कुछ देखा?
हाँ जी, ऐसा लग रहा था कि कुछ बहुत तेज धूप आईज में आ रही है सिटी के अंदर.
अच्छा.
So
that's very interesting because strictly speaking, if you think about it, the crystal would refract the light much more, right? That's interesting.
Let's hope so.
I also experienced this brightness, but nothing. मतलब बाकी वो purple ring वो भी दिखा था, and but और कुछ मुझे याद नहीं है बहुत कुछ खास. But yes, I could experience this brightness as well, while within the crystal ball.
Awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that. Cool. So thank you so much, guys, for attending this session. And this is it, really. So if you have any questions about intent or anything else, happy to answer it. Naito, let's close this and start the weekend.
I want to talk to you, but not here. I want to make a call.
After this, after the session, after we shut this down, let's have a chat. Okay, Hanji.
Sir, क्या benefit होंगे इस meditation के?
So this is a series to improve our visualization ability. So the point of this is to come out of it with a very clear, with a very detailed visualization of where you were, what you saw. The main point of this is the part where you were traveling in the city, is to be able to create a visual construct in there and to maintain that construct in your mind. And if even better, to be able to tell us about it now. So I would like you to try and recall the things that you saw, because everything that you saw came from your own inside. I didn't say anything about that, because seeing what I want you to see, what I have asked you to see, is easy. But filling the gaps with your own imagination and visualization requires a bit of time, requires a bit of practice. So this is to improve the visualization. Because if you look at intent, when you look at intent, when you look at certain healing modalities, certain ways you're doing things, that intent, the clarity of the visual plays a big role in that. And I should be able to see a great deal, see in great detail what I want to happen. So this is about that, to create and to maintain that visual construct. So which is why you were asked to roam around, and also you were asked to come back to the place. You were not simply taken out of there. I could have done that, but I want you to come back so that you treat it like a real experience. Something like Inception, agar aapne picture dekhi ho to. Sandy is in the movie. Cool. So that's it, yeah. So that's it. This is just level 1, which is visualize. The full version of this one is actually about walking through the city, seeing a lot of things, and then coming back and actually recalling it, writing it, and all those things. But that's in the full workshop, full visualization workshop, where you come out, you write what you saw, you might even draw if that's a skill that you have, and so on, to try and cement this ability to visualize. Makes any sense?
So I have a quick question here.
Bataiye na.
So I get what we did, but how is it going to help us in our life? I know it really relaxed me.
Okay. So when you create any sort of desire or a prayer or something you want, or an outcome you'd like to achieve, or a goal you've got, the first step is creating a visualization. A visualization is a very important part of that. So of how to proceed, what do you see, and all those things, to create a detailed visual of the outcome you want. And even those who don't heal, the rest of us also have goals and desires and all of that. And the ability to visualize is a huge step forward in achieving those goals. So if you think about all the other processes that are about goal achievement and so on and so forth, you'll find they almost always involve writing things down, describing them in detail. And that's also partly to visualize. So the purpose of this session was to crystallize intent. It is mostly aimed at people who are healing, because they need to have a great deal of intent. And it is to be able to crystallize that intent and clarify it and move forward from there. So later on, that intent will also include other abstract constructs. It will include the insertion of your emotion into that construct and so on. But that is later on, to create the full intent. So there will be a visual, there will be a context, there will be an emotion in that entire thing. So Archana, this is one of the pillars of the modality I was telling you that I'm developing.
Yeah, sir. Got it. We are doing a vision board with Palak too. So what we want in our life, just visualize that, post some pictures, paste some pictures,
Interesting.
write down in details. So
Interesting कि ये almost उसी lines पर है in a certain to a certain extent, na, the visualize thing. So again, so the next step, so the next session in the same series is about your creating your visuals, like you said, like you're doing with Palak. So creating your visuals, it's all about you in the next one. So this one was the, like I said, level 1. So level 2, level 3, level 4. Aram se.
Are you still recording?
Say again.
Are you still recording?
Am I still recording?
Yes, you are.